Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may happen to be in the world. Welcome once again to IAG Live. And it's a May the 1st public holiday, IAG Live. So hence the casual outfit, no going into the office today. And of course, as usual, to help us with the stream, we have in the studio, Oscar Guiaro. Come on in, Oscar.
Hello, good morning.
Sorry, Oscar, we got you working on a public holiday. Apologies for that.
Happy Labor Days to everyone.
Happy Labor Day to all the people who are laboring, like us.
Yeah, it did.
Very good, Oscar. You're at home again?
Yeah. I was chill out. My kid is around here. So yeah, later we will go to have a walk around the city.
That's fantastic. Oh, very good. And why don't we take the opportunity now to bring in IAG Managing Editor, Ben Blaschke. Come on in, Ben. We'll have the trio. Hello, Ben.
I should also wish Oscar a happy birthday for this week as well.
Indeed. Thank you, everyone.
Indeed.
Yep.
Indeed.
21 again.
21
Congrats.
again. For 50-something years, 20-something.
I'm going to leave you two to chat because I just realized I didn't got my earpods or my headphones. So just bear with me for a second while I grab them, and you two can talk about Oscar's birthday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do that, Oscar. What did you do on your birthday? Other than actually, I think you did a pretty good shift in the office that day, didn't you?
Yeah, indeed. But I could chill out. They opened a new barbecue place around the office, and I enjoyed that with the family and all that. Something very relaxed. But yeah, it was very funny.
Very, very nice. And what are your plans for the weekend, Oscar?
I think stay around. Maybe go to China, as Macau is flocked with tourists. We go the reverse. That is very relaxed there. So maybe we take a walk there. I don't know. Nothing special.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, busy weekend in Macau, of course, with the Labor Day holiday, 5-day Golden Week this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess we'll talk about that somewhere along the line as well. All right. Thanks, Oscar. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next Friday. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
All right, Ben. Well, I'll see you there with your fish again, as always. The signature of Ben, fish in the background. Let's get into the stories of the week. So, Oscar, what do you got for us? What's the first one? Oscar's got us in the triple there. Oh, there we go. I can't really read that, Oscar. That's Macau visitors, I think it is. Is it up 13% year on year in the first quarter to 11.2 million. Gee, multiply that by 4, and what do you get? 45 million, which is getting up to Vegas levels. In fact, it might even be beating Vegas levels these days. Very, very good quarter in terms of visitation. A lot of people coming to Macau, Ben.
Same thing we've been talking about a bit recently, Andrew. Obviously, last year, a new all-time record in 2025 with just over 40 million visitor arrivals, as you say, on track for 45 million. So Macau.
Oh, looks like we've lost Ben. What's happened in Sydney? As Ben said, we were on track there for 45 million. And that is an incredible number. And that picture, of course, up near the border gate. There we go. We've got Ben back.
I'm back. Yes. So Andrew is saying no trouble for Macau to attract visitors at all. But then the question, of course, is the hotel room supply, which of course the concessionaires would love to have double, triple the hotel room supply if they could.
Mm. I mean, that's the perennial problem with Macau. We don't have enough hotel rooms. And of course, a big trend of late has been to actually reduce the number of hotel rooms to chasing the premium mass market, to knock down walls between rooms and renovate and make the rooms bigger and nicer, which of course makes fewer keys in the hotels. So that's a real problem. As I think we've mentioned many times before, we've only got about 45,000 hotel rooms in Macau. At least it's 45,000. When I first came to Macau, I think it was about 18 or 19,000. So we have increased. We've got Galaxy Phase 4 on the way, which will add, well, originally it was going to add 2,500 rooms, but of course they've jumped on the bandwagon too of this trimming the number of keys down. And I think now it's only going to add maybe, don't know if you know the number, Ben. I think it's 1,400 or 1,700, something like that. So
yeah, I'm not sure the exact number, but yes, you're right. The every operator is looking at this premium mass segment, which means less hotel rooms, bigger, high quality for that premium player.
I think you'll find it's fewer hotel rooms, Ben.
Thank you, Andrew.
No problem. There's the English, it's the grammar Nazi coming out in me. Yeah, but look, this is a perennial problem, Macau. And it says comparison to Vegas. Vegas has about 160,000 hotel rooms, so they've probably got too many rooms these days, given what they're doing. And I guess also another thing we should talk about with this visitation. It's all very good to have 45 million, but how many of these people are actually playing? We're back to flag follower days, aren't we? And when I say flag follower, for those who don't know, back in the day, you'd very often, and still a little bit today, see these sort of tours going around Macau with the tour leader holding a flag up and all these people following, but really all they're doing is wearing out the carpet. They're not actually playing some of these. So, what percentage of these people are actually playing? It would be interesting to see, top 1%, top 2%, top 5%, top 10%, and to see how the visitation maps with play. Because I think you might find that might be a bit of a Pareto principle thing, right? 80-20 rule might be that 80% of the play comes from 20% of the bodies. But I guess that's the nature of numbers. And finally, I mean, still on the subject of visitation, it's a different nature of visitation too, post-COVID to pre-COVID, isn't there? Like younger people, more families, probably more mid-tier businessmen, not so much turnover coming from that uber high roller wealth, is there, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I guess those sorts of guys don't comprise a particularly large percentage of people anyway. I mean, one of the things that Macau locals will tell you is, I mean, Oscar just mentioned it then, is just how busy it gets in Macau, particularly during these holiday periods. I mean, if for anybody that's been up to around the ruins, around that area, absolutely chaotic on days like, well, I'm sure today and tomorrow will be absolutely chaotic up there. So, I mean, I guess that's one of the negatives of having such high visitation to such a small place.
Well, there's a concept in tourism research called carrying capacity, and how much can a city bear? And you and I both know that Macau locals often complain about the huge number of mainlanders. You go up to St. Malo, or you go to, as you say, ruins of St. Paul's or Senado Square. And during these really busy periods, it's just absolutely overrun with mainlanders visitors. Not that we don't like mainlanders, we do like mainlanders. But, the Macau people say, well, how can we get a look in to enjoy some of our public spaces when they're being overrun by mainlanders? So that's something the government's had to look at. And they had to add in extra gates at the border gate, didn't they? Some years ago, they opened a whole new section to the border gate just simply to process the number of people that are coming through. I think the average around is over 100,000 people a day in busy periods like we are now. May the 1st, these 5 days being the sort of the second golden week of the year after, of course, the October 1 golden week. We can get 130, 150, even 170,000 people a day coming through Macau. I think it works out to be one every 1.5 seconds or something silly like that. So it really is a major issue in Macau. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So we covered that in some depth. What's the next one, Oscar? Yes, we announced this week that our sister brand CDC Gaming in the US, the premier B2B gaming brand for the Americas, will be once again hosting the Day Zero party, so named because it is on day zero of G2E in Las Vegas, the Sunday evening before everything kicks off on the Monday morning. 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 27th of September this year. And once again, we're going to go back to Alley Lounge at Resorts World because it was such a great venue and so popular. And you were there last year, Ben, and you're going to be there again this year too.
Yeah, it was the first time last year that we'd held the event at Resorts World Las Vegas. Terrific venue, beautiful space, amazing views out over the strip all around from all sides, and a really great event, of course, in partnership with Global Gaming Women. That event, as well as being a precursor to G2E, it's also we announced the 10 Women Rising in Gaming, and it was just a terrific atmosphere last year. I think everybody really enjoyed the upgraded environment, the venue that we held it in, and everybody just had a terrific time. So really looking forward to returning again in late September.
And you can see in the picture there at the back there, Corey Roberts, of course, COO and CTO of Complete Media Group, but COO and publisher of, there's Oscar circling around Corey's head, COO and publisher of CDC Gaming. So he runs CDC Gaming over there in the US. And yeah, the partnership with Global Gaming Women is great. It's great to support women in gaming. Obviously, gaming is a very male-dominated industry. I think it's 96% male in senior executive level. So it's great to support. And there's some wonderful women in that group there. I remember talking to many of them. I think I talked to most of them during the event. It was interesting to just sort of see the initiatives that they had contributed and why the Global Gaming Women organization had acknowledged and honored these 10 particular women from all over the US and what they had done in the gaming industry. It's quite interesting to see the broad range of what's going on. It's a bit different in the US, isn't it? Because, there's 1,000 casinos in the USA, never mind the ones in Canada and Latin America and Mexico and so forth. And that's very different from what we have here in Asia, where we have really, it's sort of 25 companies, maybe it's about 50 properties for all of Asia Pacific, decent properties, but the US, it's really disparate. So it's interesting to see the different things they did. That's a great little event. So if you're going to be over there at G2E, obviously it's mainly populated by audience from CDC Gaming in the Americas, but a lot of our audience does go over to Las Vegas for G2E. So if you're going to be over there, let us know. And we've got a limited number of tickets, which obviously we would share with our contacts in the industry here, Ben.
Yes, that is correct, Andrew. And also, I'd probably encourage too, the 10 Women Rising in Gaming is global. So I'd encourage any women out there in Asia or even any executives who have women in their team who they would like to promote, who they believe have done an exceptional job and they're on the rise, that should submit their nomination. And IAG will, in the coming weeks, I think, and certainly CDC Gaming will promote how you can do that as well.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next one. What's next, Oscar? Yeah, we had a couple of stories on Cambodia or Scambodia, as somebody called it this week. One highlighting a particular senator who was allegedly connected to some of these casinos. But it's good to see Cambodia trying. I mean, they're definitely trying, or at least there are some people over there in the government in Cambodia who are trying to clean up the act and improve the image of Cambodia's gaming industry. Maybe not all, but there is an element that's really trying to do that. It's good to see them closing down some of these properties because there's a lot of casinos in Cambodia that really probably shouldn't be there, aren't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a shame that it has taken some external organisations to really highlight this issue. Amnesty International has written a few reports on the issue in Cambodia. The US government, as you said, called out this Cambodian senator. We've seen the Prince Group in the headlines recently. It's a real problem in Cambodia, these scam compounds masquerading as casinos in many instances. So, as you say, at least it's being highlighted now. I think Cambodia can do nothing other than do something about it. So it looks like that is starting to take place. But, it's such a widespread issue. I think it's going to take some time.
Well, they finally did. It did take them a long time, but they got there in the end. They finally did get that new law through, and they've got a proper regulator now. So, I mean, it's difficult for a country like Cambodia to move its industry forward, but it is moving it forward. So, eventually we'll get there, and it's great to see them trying to clean up their industry and have a proper regulated industry. Of course, there's one big integrated resort there, Naga, listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, based in Phnom Penh. So it's good to, it's good to see that at least, and obviously they're subject to all the regulatory requirements of the exchange. So that helps as well. But all the laws followed in Cambodia, not necessarily, particularly down in Sihanoukville was a sort of problematic area for a while there, but that's been cleaned up dramatically. Has it been completely cleaned up? No. But it's good to see them moving in the right direction anyway, and we'll support them and give them coverage of what they're doing down there. All right, what's next, Oscar? Yeah, Star. Finally, some news about operations rather than all the machinations of Bally's and Bruce Matheson Jr. taking over. Finally, some stories on how they're actually going.
Yeah, well, it's a multi-phase process that the new ownership is undertaking. Step one is cost cutting. They've been doing that quite actively over the past few months. One of the big initiatives was to drastically cut down the size of the corporate office, I believe from over 600 staff to around 150. I'm aware there's been quite a few other changes, quite a few redundancies over the past few months as well, among other initiatives. So step one for Star is cost cutting, and as per their report this week on their quarterly activities report, starting to show some progress there. Revenue was actually a little down, but profitability, I think it was a very narrow loss of 1 million EBITDA compared to 25 million, I believe, in the prior year period. So that's certainly a start. Obviously, the next step will be getting a license back. And then from there, I think sort of trying to increase revenue, boost visitation, and do whatever they can there. Probably mirroring the experience of Crown a little bit, Andrew, as well.
Well, except that they started way behind, didn't they? I mean, Crown got onto the case straight away. Star had more than one or two hiccups along the way, but it just seems now that Bally's and Bruce Matheson Jr. Or investment holding, what are they called? Investment holdings, is it? Proprietary Limited, whatever. Yep. Yeah. Now that they've got control, they seem to be ringing the changes and trying to do some sensible stuff rather than all that nonsense that was going on at Star before. And I think, Crown's laid out a playbook for them. All they got to do is follow it, and they will eventually get their licenses back. But of course, they need to trade out of their difficulties as well. I think I read in your story there under 100 million in the bank again now, 90 million or something in the bank again now. It's going to run out pretty quick.
Well, I mean, I guess the idea is that they'll stop cut the bleeding, stop the bleeding as soon as possible. So that will sort of help that problem. But as you say, Andrew, at least they seem to have a plan now. Previous management, I'm not sure they really did, other than try to stay afloat. There seems to be a genuine plan in place. Obviously, you and I have both spoken to Sue Kim about this, and he's outlined some of the initiatives he wants to implement. So we're starting to see that now.
I think the previous plan was stay open for as long as possible so that salaries and consultants' fees keep getting paid. I think that might have been the previous plan. But no, this operator actually wants to create a viable business. So that's a good start. A sustainable, viable business that has a relationship with the people of New South Wales and Queensland. It has a relationship with the regulator and with the government. So, look, we wish them all the best. I want to see a thriving Star and a bit of competition for Crown as well. That's good. So let's see how that goes. And that's obviously your home city, Ben. You're in Sydney now as we speak, and I'll be there. I'll be there in August.
Yes, that is correct on both fronts.
Very good. All right, let's move on to the next one. Well, hello, we got some comments come in. Here we go. It would be interesting to get a future interview with Mr. Bruce Matheson Jr. A comment there from Paul McCauley. Yes, very much so. In fact, that is something on our agenda when the time is right. I think we decided to sort of let that go a little bit for the moment, just let them do a few things, but We are in touch with them about that, so we're waiting to hear back from them. And thank you for the nice comment on the previous interview with Sue Kim and Oscar. You whisked that away a little bit too quickly for me. I didn't read the bottom one, which I just saw that there were 3. Oh, happy birthday, Oscar! There you go. You got some fans, Oscar. All right, on with the next one from the Pirate. Well, there you go, Ben. You can do this one as it is. May Day, it's today, isn't it? The beginning of Golden Week, and they're expecting a truckload of people to come in.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, Andrew, this is a very busy 5-day period. If you scroll down there, Oscar, I mean, we talk about the 740,000 a day is traffic in and out, not just visitor arrivals either. It's residents, everybody going in and out of the ports. But if you scroll down a bit further, Oscar, I believe the government issued a few forecasts there around daily visitor arrivals of around, what were we saying, around 170,000 per day they were looking at. Yes, so that's pretty healthy if they get around to those levels, reaching up to 220,000 visitors potentially tomorrow. So that's the forecast. Wouldn't surprise me at all if that's the case. Really, it just plays to what we were saying earlier about very healthy visitation levels to Macau at the moment. Any comment on that, Andrew?
I'm tapping away on my calculator. 220,000 divided by 24 hours, divided by 60 minutes, divided by 60 seconds. 2.5 people per second, every second for 24 hours. Wow, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, that's getting up to San Diego, Tijuana numbers. I think that's the busiest border crossing in the world, somebody told me once. But look, it's great for Macau. It's great to see so many people coming in, and this is a really important time for the concessionaires to try and make some money. So it's good that we've got the capacity to do that, and it's good that Macau are organised and they prepare in the way that they do for this. They have the capacity at the border gate, so it doesn't get too crowded. Hopefully, I mean, we have seen some enormous crowds around the border gate in the past, but hopefully they have enough people up there to manage it all and let them get in. All right, next one, Oscar. What's next? There's a story by Pierce. And then Aussie Millions Shamble. This is, you've got your name all over it, Ben. Talk what's going on with the Aussie. You're going down there tomorrow, right? From Sydney down to Melbourne.
Yep, tomorrow heading down there. It's today is 1 week since the Aussie Millions kicked off. Of course, the organisers down there, Harold, Dan, and the team, Danny McDonough, of course, a little bit nervous heading into the series. What are the numbers going to look like? Well, obviously they've got nothing to worry about because it has been truly record-breaking during the first week of the series. At least the first 3 or 4 events set all-time records in player numbers. The opening event absolutely smashed the previous one, the 5K 6 max. So great start for Crown down there, for the Crown team at the Aussie Millions. It just shows that the players here in Australia have been anxiously awaiting the return of the Aussie Millions, and they're not going to miss out on the first series back in 6 years.
Well, as we said, you and I, we've been talking about this and kind of promoting this for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, I guess now, that we've been running stories on the Aussie Millions and explaining. And I think people were sort of saying, well, why are you talking about this so much? Well, we strongly suspected it would go the gangbusters, and it has. I mean, I think that first opening event, was it 2,144? It sticks in my mind is the number of entries they got. And I believe in the previous decade, or previous, ever since the Aussie Millions has started, the highest number I looked at the numbers for the last decade, and the highest previously, so the last decade being 2010 to 2020, I think it was. Maybe it was 2012 to 2020, can't remember. But the highest number was 1,700. So, I mean, to get to 2,144 when previous record was 1,700 and something, I mean, you're smashing it by almost 25%. And I think all the events are going to be like that, which augurs well for the main event starting on Monday, day 1A on Monday, day 1B on Tuesday, day 1C on Wednesday. So hopefully they might get, who knows, 700 or something like that. We will see. All right. And of course I'll be playing in that event. So hopefully I can last. Let's see what happens. Yes. Day 1C I'll be playing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just going to say quickly, Andrew, before we jump onto this story, that next week, this time next week will be day 3. So hopefully you cannot do this live stream because you're still playing.
It would be nice if you have to do it on your own. Although we do it in them. Oh no, I'll be still playing if I can. Yeah, day 3. I mean, the chance of making it through to day 3, I guess off the top of my head, probably feels like about 10% or 15% because it's a 1 on X curve. Obviously, like a lot of people go early and then it sort of tapers away. It's a geometric progression if you want to get fancy, with a negative number on the indice. So, I mean, just for people who may be interested, I did write a story. That story I wrote about playing. When did we publish that? I've kind of lost track of the days. Today's Friday. We published that on Monday. I think we published that on Monday, didn't we? I wrote a little story about Monday or Tuesday, yeah. And it'll be something like, I mean, let's just say there's 600, 700 people in it. I guess day 1 we'll see the elimination of perhaps 40% of them on day 1. Then day 2, probably a similar number of people. It's obviously a bigger proportion of the field. So by day 3, yeah, maybe 20% or something of the field will remain. So maybe there'll be 100. Probably we'll reach the money, I guess, on day 3, won't we, Ben? I think we'll probably hit the maybe even late on day 2, but I think more likely early on day 3 we'll hit the cash bubble, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to recall at the World Series of Poker, which is usually a 7-day event. Is that late or day 3, early day 4?
It's late. Exactly. Yeah, it's either late day 3 or early day 4.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it could make the money late on day 2 potentially. Would make sense that may be the case. Again, it depends a little bit on numbers too. So that sort of affects how the tournament plays out.
It does. And I noticed that Danny in the structure has just put, I think it's 6, the levels are 90-minute levels, and he's put 6 90-minute levels for day 1, but then he hasn't explained what will be day 2, day 3, day 4. He's obviously done that. He's got all the levels, but he hasn't said where the day cutoffs will be. And he's obviously done that intentionally because he may have to push out an extra level. I mean, we may have to play, if the numbers are really gangbuster, we may have to play really late into the night a couple of nights. We may have to play, I hope I do have to play late into the night. We may have to play till 1 a.m. or something like that, which is a very, very long day when you started at 12:30 p.m. And a lot of mistakes, I can tell you, a lot of mistakes get made late at night in those tournaments. Very late towards the end of the day, people tend to, their brains explode at midnight when there's 30 minutes to go or an hour to go, sudden rush of blood to the head, a little bit tired, and people can sometimes bust out late. So he might squeeze an extra level or 2 out. So we'll see. And that'll be 85%, I guess, of the people will bust, and 15% will make the money. Each of them will probably double their entry fee of 10,000 to 20,000. And then we'll go up from there. And we could be looking at a first prize of, who knows, 7, 8, 900,000 Australian. They may even try to contrive it to $1 million, just to get that headline number. Let's see. That'll be interesting. And of course, you'll be able to read all about it on Breakfast Briefing. We'll ramp up our coverage. I imagine you'll do some pretty strong coverage, at least one story every day from the time that you're down there, Ben. Is that your plan?
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. Certainly throughout the main event. Of course, we've got a couple of pretty big tournaments starting. I think the 5K might be starting today, actually. The 5K freeze out, and the 25K starts on Sunday, I think. So, yeah, some other pretty big ticket tournaments.
Be pretty interesting to see how many runners they get for the 25K. I noticed they've only gone for a 25K this year. I know in previous years at Crown, I think it was even 100K, wasn't there one year?
There was a 200K one year, so that was pretty much getting up there.
Yeah, and you got to spare 200,000 Australian dollars to blow on an entry fee into a poker tournament. Anyway, enough about that. Let's move on. Let's move on to Vivienne Westwood, your favourite subject, Ben. I heard you're going to explain this one in great detail.
Well, I can explain that our Chinese writer Piers Chan was at the launch of Vivienne Westwood, the exhibition of famous British jewelry designer Vivienne Westwood is at Grand.
All right, Ben. I'll cut off you. I'll save you. I'll say.
I know you're a fan.
Yes.
I know you're a fan of Vivienne Westwood.
I am a fan of Vivienne Westwood. Vivienne Westwood, for those people who don't know, is an iconic British lady who is big into punk fashion in the 70s and 80s. And she actually was married to Malcolm. A lot of people don't know this. She was married to Malcolm McLaren. Well, did they actually get married? They're certainly together. They had a child together. Malcolm McLaren, who was the manager of the Sex Pistols in the 70s and the 80s. And Vivienne Westwood was a bit of a renegade. She's passed away now, unfortunately. We lost her a few years ago. But she was a bit of a renegade, sort of UK fashion icon. Her and Malcolm McLaren owned a very famous shop in London. It was called Sex, was the name of the shop. It was a fashion shop, and then Sex Pistols, of course. So they sort of combined music and fashion, and they were sort of art icons of the 70s and 80s. So a lot of people these days, they're walking in a shopping centre, they walk past a Vivienne Westwood store, they just see some fashion in there, they don't know the story behind it. And of course, we're talking about it because SJM at Grand Lisboa Palace has got this this very nice sort of display of jewellery, this exhibition of jewellery, which I believe toured in mainland China. If I got that right, that it toured in mainland China and then came down here, I think it did. Yeah. So we've got, if you're interested in going having a look at that, apparently it's quite nice, quite interesting. Go and have a look at Grand Lisboa Palace. And also then this leads into the broader discussion about what the integrated resorts, are doing in Macau in terms of non-gaming attractions and spreading sort of the diversification of the Macau economy into all sorts of things. And we can even talk about the $16.3 billion US that the six of them have committed to spend from January 1, 2023 to 31st of December 2032. So that's a decade. That actually works out to be $31 million US a week. So every week in, week out for a decade, the six concessionaires have to spend an average of $31 million US on things diversifying Macau. And I think the idea is to make Macau more than just a gambling destination. And of course they're doing it on all sorts of things like this exhibition, arts and culture, concerts, sporting events, all sorts of programming, also development of assets that promote non-gaming as well. So this is just part of what Macau has become now. So I think it's interesting from a B2B industry point of view that we highlight the things that they're doing. And of course, our sister brand, New Macau, does that. So if anyone's quite interested in non-gaming and what's going on in Macau and the opportunities, we have a sister brand, New Macau, which is new-mac.com, and you can go and check that out too. So yeah, that's why people might think, well, why is a media company like IAG covering this? Well, it's a big part of the industry now and mandated by the government, right?
Yeah. As you say, Andrew, we've seen all sorts of initiatives recently. Certainly art exhibitions play a big part. We see quite a few announced. This is a very interesting one, as you say, the Vivienne Westwood. As you say, we've seen the NBA coming to Sands. We've seen high-level tennis, table tennis, high-level concerts with some very famous performers from Hong Kong, Korea, all sorts of different places. As it's all playing to this diversification, and it's putting Macau on the map as well globally.
Yeah, so props to SJM for doing this this particular exhibition. Daisy Ho there, of course, in charge, and our friend Andy Lee's head of gaming down there, Portia Leung, all of the team down at SJM. Well done for doing this. All right, let's move on. What's next? MGM results for Q1.
Yeah, well, we've seen 3 of the 6 release their results now in Macau, Andrew. All 3 have shown growth since 1Q25. They've shown strong growth in 26. MGM continue their upward march, the pretty strong performance by them. One of the notable things to emerge from this was that margins are a little bit pressed further. That's been an issue going on. But of course, the licensing, the branding fee with the parent came into effect this quarter, where the licensing fee has doubled from 1.75% to 3.5% of revenue. So that sort of hurt profitability a little bit, and that will be an issue going forward for MGM. Although they're at pains to say that that's within perfectly reasonable levels. But overall, it's a very strong performance from MGM, 10% growth year on year. And of course, MGM has been the real success story post-COVID. Kenneth Feng came on and spoke very passionately. Actually, Kenny is very passionate about what he's doing there at MGM, about their new suite product at MGM Cotai. They recently opened, I think 63 new suites opened in the past week or so. I believe about that many again due to open, must be very soon. New gaming space, and they're going to do the same. They're going to renovate some existing suite space on the peninsula side too very soon. So lots happening at MGM.
Look, first of all, my first comment is, well done to MGM. They've done fantastically. They've taken their market share. Well, they basically doubled it from pre-COVID to post-COVID. And we've talked on this show before at length about how they came out of the blocks, hit the ground running post-COVID. They kind of caught everyone else napping. Everyone else is caught up now. And, the higher reinvestment rates, people are grumbling about it, but, it's a reality of life now in Macau. As for this branding fee, I think I have to say it. I have to highlight it. That is an impost on MGM China that, while they still say it's a perfectly reasonable number, they've doubled it. It's a considerable amount of money, and that's a transfer of funds from MGM China to MGM Resorts. Now, if you're a shareholder in MGM China and you're wondering why your share price doesn't go up, because all the share prices at the moment are languishing, even though all the properties are doing really, really well, the share prices are kind of stagnant. And this doesn't help because it's effectively a distribution that the shareholders don't participate in, because it's a payment from MGM China to MGM Resorts. MGM Resorts not necessarily doing so great in Vegas. Vegas has its own issues right now. Probably Wynn doing quite well, probably Venetian doing quite well, but companies like MGM Caesars are suffering through what's going on in Vegas. So if you're MGM Resorts, it's very nice to have a nice big chunky fee paid to you from MGM China, which is making all this money that comes off the top line rather than the bottom line, and the shareholders don't participate in, but the parent company does. So I think some shareholders might not be too happy about this, but this is what's happening. So let's just see. And 3.5%, I'm not going to make a judgment call. I'm not an expert in these things. I can't say whether that's a reasonable number or not a reasonable number. But to double it seems like a big jump, doesn't it?
Well, it was I think it was a $23 million difference this quarter that impacted by that increase. So that's fairly substantial. 23 million US, that is, not Hong Kong, US.
So for a quarter. So we're talking 100. So we're talking 100 million a year off the bottom line. Off the top line. It's also coming off the bottom line, right? You've got to. If your margin is 25%, well, that's 400 million. You've got to find to cover that, and that's in terms of revenue. So. In a way, that's become the headline rather than the success of what MGM has done, which is a shame for someone like Kenny Fung, who's doing, and Tian and all the team there at MGM, who are doing a great job in creating revenue and creating profits. But we're talking about this branding fee, so that's that's in some ways I think that's a little bit of a shame. Anyway, let's move on. Well done to MGM. Great quarter.
I should mention, Andrew, that in relation to this story, Melco announced overnight that Melco Resorts has purchased off its parent, Melco International, the subsidiary that holds the Melco branding. So Melco has done that as a strategy so that Melco Resorts does not have to pay those fees to the parent moving forward. So, that sort of plays into, they've recognised opportunity to avoid that ongoing issue moving forward by doing so.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. From Lawrence. Okay, let's go. Yeah, and thanks for that, Ben. Let's go on to the next one. And then this was sort of you're quite good at this, Ben. You tend to do a story. You do the story of the results, and then you pick up and find something interesting in the commentary or in from this. I assume was from the earnings call, was it?
It was, yes. And as I said, Kenny jumped on and spoke very passionately about what they've been doing at MGM in terms of enhancing their premium offering. So, he spoke about, I think his words were, Macau is not a quantity play, it's a quality play. So it's all about providing the very best service, the very best spaces that you can provide to your customers. And yes, that's what MGM have done. Of course, I mentioned before, opening last week of 63 new suites at MGM Cotai. They're going to start work on 100 existing suites, but just upgrading them at MGM Macau. So they're continuing that work, and they obviously see this premium space as the way to go, the way to move forward.
Yeah, I spent a bit of time in there, and they're very, very nice high-end area in Cotai. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm interested to see what they're doing at Macau, which is, we're right. I'm literally, as we speak, I'm only a matter of hundreds of meters away from that building, and we're walking past it all the time, and it's close to our office, and it's interesting. We're embedded all around it, so it gives us a good opportunity to go and check it out and meet with the MGM guys and the other concessionaires in Macau too quite regularly. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and what they do. I'm sure it'll be beautiful. Everything that gets done in Macau turns out to be beautiful in terms of hardware. All right, well, let's move on to the next one. So good quarter for MGM. And then, yes, we're running. We should talk a little bit about G2E. G2E Asia, not this coming week. This coming week's all about Aussie Millions for us. But then the following week, it'll be all about G2E Asia and Macau. Obviously, our IAG, as we have been for many, many years, is the lead media partner. But we always run this very big event, TIP, the industry party, on the Wednesday evening. And we've announced there the two diamond sponsors, Light and Wonder and Interblock.
Yeah, we've got 3 sponsorship levels, Andrew. We'll be announcing the platinum and the gold sponsors in the coming days as well. So thank you to all our sponsors, and particularly thank you to Interblock and Light and Wonder. Great support. But the big thing, of course, is the industry party, a must-attend event. It's one of the great events of the year. I think it's one of those events that is on the annual calendar as this is one you have to go to now. It's hugely popular, hugely popular event. Great fun, terrific networking. Everybody's in town for G2E Asia, so it's a really great time just to get together and relax a little bit that night and catch up with people, have some fun.
Well, it's a great way to see everybody at once. Everyone's time limited, and if you're a supplier and you're in that event, you can see every single operator in Asia pretty much. Certainly all 6 in Macau, certainly all of them in the Philippines, like Singapore. I mean, you name it, they're there. And if you're an operator, you can meet all the suppliers because all the suppliers are there as well. So it's a really good industry mixer. Great, as you say, great night, highly attended. 24 sponsors this year, actually same as last year. We've equaled last year's record of 24 sponsors. I think we've got these two diamond sponsors, Light and Wonder and Interblock. I believe we've got 5, I think it is, platinum sponsors. So doing a bit of quick math, I think we've got 17 gold sponsors. So pretty much anyone who's everyone, or everyone who's anyone in the industry is there. So great one to go to. Wednesday, 13th of May, from 6 p.m. at MGM Cotai. Of course, you can't just turn up. You need to get a ticket. And every year it happens. It's a sellout. And every year at the last minute, people are scrambling, trying to get tickets, and they get locked out. It's not an easy party to get into. You need to get a ticket from a sponsor or from IAG, and they're quite limited. So get onto it now if you haven't got one.
Yep. I've got one, Andrew, so no problem.
You'll be there. Ben will be there. Oscar will be there. So sure. All your fans will be. Unfortunately, I'll be there. So then, maybe might turn a few people away. But most people will be there to see you and Oscar, Ben. All right, next one. Yeah, Melco's numbers.
Yeah, released overnight. Again, very strong. This is their best quarter in quite some time for Melco. 1.37 billion in revenue. Very profitable quarter as well. Basically, primarily from their Macau resorts. They had really strong growth at City of Dreams, Studio City, and Altira. All 3 showed strong growth, particularly City of Dreams. Of course, that's the flagship. They also showed growth in Manila from the VIP segment of all places. They showed some pretty good growth for the quarter over there. Of course, City of Dreams Mediterranean being impacted by the conflict in the Middle East at the moment. But, Melco have been making positive strides over the past year or so since some management changes, and they're doing quite well.
Yeah, great quarter for Melco. And look, you were up early this morning, Ben, 5 a.m. Macau time, 7 a.m. Sydney time, getting this done. Well done. Always get the news first from IAG. But in all seriousness, look, just a great quarter for Melco. And what Kevin Benning and his team have been doing now and down there at Studio City has been fantastic. that property early on was kind of like the ugly duckling in a way, and it was only ever full when Macau sort of was completely full, and it was sort of like a reserve property. Now it's completely different. It's fantastic what he's done down there, and I actually went down there for a meeting a few months ago, and I went in the wrong door. And I love it. It was great that I went in the wrong door because it forced me to walk all around through the property to get to where I was going. And it was really interesting to see the changes down there and how active and vibrant the property was. A lot of activity. He's done a really, really good job down there, Kevin Benning. That's fantastic. At Studio City, and then as you say, City of Dreams as well. City of Dreams is going very well, and even Altira, the former Crown property, where we held MAD. Was it just this past week? What? No, was it last week? It must have been last. No, was it just this past week? Time flies.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was Tuesday.
The 21st. What date are we? Yeah.
It was a week and a bit ago. Yeah, there we go. But that was great at Aurora there at Altira, and Raymond Lowe, of course. You got Tim Kelly at City Dreams. And of course Lawrence and Evan Winkler and Jeff Davis and all the crew, Aladad and all the crew there in corporate. So look, well done to Melco, and they racked up a lot of debt during COVID, didn't they? But they're paying it down. They're working it through, and they're catching back up now, which is great. And never a dull moment at Melco with all the stuff that they've got going on. City of Dreams, Mediterranean, and Sri Lanka, and Manila. Now Manila have decided to keep the property. It was on the market there for a while, but they've decided to keep it. So great quarter for Lawrence. He must be very happy with that. All right, what's next, Oscar? Yes, South Korea continuing to do well. I just thought I'd throw this in here so you could reinforce about Korea. You know, again, another ugly duckling of the industry in the past, but actually for a foreigners only country, been doing quite well lately, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been doing very well from obviously experiencing a very challenging time through COVID, but it's been on the rise ever since. The numbers they're printing are, record numbers. Of course, Paradise is the number one foreigner-only operator there. Their numbers have been great over the past year and a half, year or two. Lot development down there in Jeju, Grand Korea Leisure. And I just thought this was interesting because the numbers were, look and see there, 26.7% year-on-year growth in March, 33% higher than pre-COVID. The tourism organisation said this was helped by the return of K-pop supergroup BTS. So obviously,
everyone loves BTS.
I know Jason's a huge K-pop fan, so I'm sure he was probably trying to get over there for that. But look, good times for South Korea.
He was over there last week. He was over in Korea. I think he's gone over there to see some boy bands, Jason. He's gone over there to check out BTS. Yeah. But did I see 2 million visitors there? I think just scroll down, Oscar. Was it 2 million? Yes, March saw it 2 million in a month. 24 million. So that's outbound travel also increased to 3 months. Yes, it's interesting Korea, isn't it? Because it's interesting to look at the inbound and the outbound, right? So the inbound 2.04 million, that's 24 million. You know what? That's half of Macau. Now, of course, that's countrywide. They're not all going there to play in casinos. We get that. But that is still a decent number of people. Yeah, that's the sort of the K wave, isn't it? I mean, Korea is becoming quite popular everywhere and led by their entertainment industry. So that is quite interesting. You know, when Japan opens, that will be the big threat for them. But it's also interesting to look at the outbound numbers too, because they're getting out of the country, and for them to be traveling outbound, obviously they're going places as well. I know the Korea numbers although small, the Korea numbers into Macau have been up recently as well. So all of the Macau foreign visitation has been up considerably in percentage terms. Of course, it makes up a very small proportion of Macau's visitation as a proportion compared to China and Greater China. I think Greater China, by the time you add in Taiwan and Hong Kong, is in the low 90s, and it's single digits for the rest. Yeah, but it's interesting, Korea. I'm as I think I mentioned before, I'm planning a trip to Korea later in the year. I haven't booked it yet, but maybe around July, I'd like to try and get over there for a bit of time and do some reporting from Korea for the audience. All right, what's next, Oscar? We must be getting near the end. Oh, this is the last one I remember. Just thought I'd throw this one in to remind everyone about G2E Asia. But we kind of mentioned G2E Asia before, didn't we? But Novomatic coming to Novomatic, a platinum sponsor of the industry party on Wednesday, the 13th of May. Get your ticket. Don't get turned away at the door. It happens to people every year. They're going to be there, and you're going to be up for G2E Asia too, Ben, week after next.
Yep, I'll be flying up there, Andrew. We've obviously seen all the suppliers have been releasing their press releases about what they'll be showcasing at G2E Asia. Plenty to see, and it should be quite interesting to see the latest trends and developments of the industry.
Well, I think Oscar, here's an instruction without notice, but if you jump on the magazines and pull up the May issue, we had the digital edition of the May issue went out yesterday, the May issue of IAG. And Ben, you've got an industry showcase there in the back of it.
Yep, there we go. 208 pages, Andrew. We've lost Andrew just then. There he is. He's back. Solution showcase. 208 pages. One of our biggest issues ever. And I can't remember what page the solution showcase starts on, Oscar, but there we go. Got all the I think we've got about 12 companies in there showcasing there.
Yeah, just quickly, also go back one more page to the contents of go back. There we go. So Angel, Aristocrat, EGT, IGT, Konami, Light and Wonder, Matsui, Mega Fortress, SpinTech, Walker Digital, Waiki, and Zitro. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. As you say, 12 companies there that we've got in the solution showcase. Just skim through them, Oscar, which is part of the May issue. There'll be plenty of copies of the May issue of IAG at G2E Asia kicking around. We'll have, I'm no doubt we'll have some pretty girls handing out copies at booths to people, and they'll also be available in the magazine racks they normally have there. So yeah, get along to G2E Asia and visit these companies at the various booths that they have there. And we'll be there in booth A418, I believe. Oh, there's Olivia. A418, I believe it is, Ben. Come and visit us too at the IAG booth.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Andrew. It's a great chance to catch up with people. We'll have a pretty strong team there. I'm not sure exactly how many I haven't counted, but
I think we'll have maybe 15. I think 15 people, 15, maybe close to 20 actually, even 15 to 20 people from IAG kicking around G2E in the conference and on the floor of the show, and at TIP, of course. Yeah, Oscar, if you flick forward, oh, there we are, A418. If you just flick forward to the orange, the TIP, there we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 12, 16, 21, 22, 23 sponsors there, but Novomatic has come in as well. We just came in the last day as a platinum sponsor. So they're all the sponsors as well. And of course, don't forget Power 50 and IAG Expo. Yeah, so a lot coming up. We're coming up to the busy time of the year is just about to sort of kick in, isn't it, Ben? Where we start getting big, starts at G2E and goes all the way through to Power 50 and even the two MADs in December, doesn't it?
Yep, plenty happening. Of course, IAG Expo in September is a big one for us that we're going to be delving into with all of our energy very soon, Andrew. In fact, we're doing it now. So
we are, yeah. And you've written this great cover story, Macau's squeeze. And I guess you're talking there all about the premium mass phenomenon that's going on at the moment. There's a big deep dive into that phenomenon, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the promotional activity and margins and all of that. This sort of delves into exactly why that is, what's really causing that behind the scenes, how Macau has changed for the positive and the negative. So obviously, I think it's a more sustainable market now, but there are certain cost pressures on the operators, and there's many, many reasons for that. So we look into that. Quite interesting, actually, Andrew. What's going on in Macau?
It is this sort of high reinvestment that well, let's be honest and say who it was. It was MGM that sort of got that kicked off post COVID, and then there was a reaction by the others. And in this uber competitive environment, you can't afford to be left behind. So think there's a bit of a mood in Macau at the moment. We're hearing it on the ground that people, I mean, you've used the word squeeze there. It's probably the right word. I think a lot of companies are thinking, well, our margins are getting squeezed here because we're having to reinvest so much to get that action. So is that healthy for the industry and sustainable for the industry, or is that a race to the bottom? There are differing opinions. It depends who you speak to. So if you speak to a company like, well, the obvious sort of one that's probably affected by this the most is Galaxy, right? Because the big ones are the ones that are affected here. The smaller ones tend to say, we haven't got the hotel rooms, we haven't got the amenities that you guys have got, so we've got to attract, we've got to go out and buy the action, we've got to go out and get action, get players, by offering them these kinds of things. Whereas the larger ones, I think, like Galaxy and Sands, would say, well, let's settle down. Let's not do that so much. Let's not affect our markets, because they've got beautiful properties that people are just going to go to because they want to see those magnificent, enormous properties. Sands maybe not affected quite as much as Galaxy because they've got Marina Bay Sands. And Marina Bay Sands is just this amazing cash cow. Whereas Galaxy, kind of all their eggs in one basket. It's always the thing that everyone says about Galaxy, right? And so they've got an amazing, Galaxy have got an incredible product. Galaxy Macau is stupendous. It's basically a small city now. And when phase 4 opens, it will be a small city into itself. 13, 14 hotels, all 5-star, just amazing. And have they announced that they're going to knock Broadway down and put something up there? If they haven't, I bet you they do soon.
They haven't announced that, but it wouldn't surprise.
Yeah, I think that'll. I mean, I don't know anything that is on. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything. I know something that I don't, but that wouldn't surprise me if at some stage they did that, or at least a major renovation to Broadway to change it, and that would get them even more. And they've got, even before the 4 phases. I remember at the very beginning of Galaxy Macau, they said, there were going to be 4 phases, and they went through 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would happen over the next sort of 20 years. Well, we're getting to the end of that period with phase 4 going to be open. I think it won't be long after that opens that they announce a phase 5. They may not call it phase 5, but they announce, because they've still got land there. They've still got land that they can develop. They haven't built that theme park. There's stuff that they could do. So that's interesting. But anyway, I've gone off on quite a tangent there. Sorry about that. But that's what we tend to do at IAG Live, isn't it? Go off on tangents.
Yes, that's right. I think everybody have a read of the cover story, which is where we started with this, and quite interesting dive into the mechanics behind what's happening in the Macau market at the moment.
Yeah, there's Vitali. He'll be at G2E Asia. A nice picture of Grand Lisboa Palace up on the top right there. Anyway, I think that's it for us. I think we're done. So, look, it's been a great week in Asian gaming. You're off to Melbourne tomorrow. I'm off to Melbourne on Monday, and I'll be arriving in Melbourne on Tuesday. I think I'll have a little bit of a rest on Tuesday in preparation for Wednesday. I'll be playing day 1C of the Aussie Millions, my first poker tournament in many years. So I'm excited about that. $10,000 poker tournament, major poker tournament. So hopefully I can have a deep run in that. But, it's in the lap of the poker gods and my abilities as a player as well. I'm a little bit rusty, so I'll be doing some study over the next few days to catch up on my ranges and all that sort of stuff. And you'll be down there and you'll be doing live commentary. You'll be doing live streaming. Ben, give a plug for your live streaming. Where can people watch the live streaming for the Aussie Millions?
Yeah, if they go to the Crown Resorts or Crown Melbourne YouTube channel, they'll be able to watch live coverage from tomorrow of the Aussie Millions. Myself and Paul Curry will be leading the commentary team alongside a very able support cast, some very high-profile poker players, a few celebrity guests, Frankie B, many different people jumping in to be part of that. So, yeah, it'll be good fun.
Oh, well, that's awesome. That will be fun. And Paul Corey, an old friend of ours, and the voice, as he's known, he's got a great voice, and he'll be a great partner in crime for you to commentate. Are you on there every day? Are you covering all the events? You obviously the main will be a major focus, but you're covering some other events. You're covering the 25K as well.
We'll be covering 5K, 25K, and main event, but with a focus on the main event, of course. So the coverage will really be picking up from Monday when the main event kicks off.
That's excellent. All right, so go check out Crown's YouTube channel if you're interested in the Aussie Millions, which obviously we very much are, and we hope you guys are too, because that's some great news for the Australian industry, and it augurs well for next year. I mean, they're already talking about. I know behind the scenes. I know the management of Crown well behind the scenes. They're already talking about 2027 it being bigger and better, and that's exciting. So I think that's back to stay. The Aussie Millions, I think this has been proof of concept for it to return. The regulator, I'm sure, must be happy with it. So, yeah, the Aussie Millions looks like it's going to be back every year, and we'll be focusing on that every year, probably around this time of year, unless they move it from this. Have you heard anything about that, when it will come back next year? I guess it'll be the same time of year again. Maybe this is when they're going to have it every year now, April.
I think they will, because this is a bit of a gap in the schedule when they want to fill their hotel rooms. So it makes sense to hold it this time of year.
Yeah, late April, early May. Fair enough. All right. Well, thanks for watching. And next Friday, will we get you, Ben? What will we do next Friday? Will you be available? Because you might be doing streaming, right?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked at my streaming schedule yet, Andrew, so I have to lock that all in.
And we don't know whether I'll be available or not. Hopefully I'm not. So I'm playing day 3 of the Aussie Millions. But if I am available, we'll certainly jump on and do this next Friday. So we're not quite sure what's going to happen next Friday, but just keep coming back to asgam.com/live, and we'll post on there what's going to happen as we know it, and we'll post updates. Have a great weekend, everyone. Keep reading IAG. Keep watching IAG Breakfast Briefing, 8 a.m. Macau time in your inboxes. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. See ya. Say bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.